holistic nutritionist, is here to talk about emotional eating, something I know a little bit about. Please welcome back Sarah Moore.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. Yes.
So excited. Okay, so we are talking about primary food versus secondary. What exactly does that mean?
Well, our primary food, we've been taught, is like the food on our plate.
Yes.
But actually, all the lifestyle things around us, like our finances, our career, our social life, all of those things drive typically what we eat.
Yeah.
So if we look at those as primary foods, like if I'm fulfilled in all these areas, I'm more than likely probably going to eat better, right? But if I'm unfulfilled in other areas, that's where the emotional eating comes in, that then we make poor choices based on the emotion, and we're driven by that.
Okay, so I had never heard of this kind of idea or terminology, and I did some research. It's fascinating. So it's like food more in the sense of stuff that nourishes you, not food that you're actually eating. I love it. It's fascinating. That's really cool. Okay, so why do you say, before diving into a bag of chips or something, to kind of think back to when you were a kid and how you thought about food then?
That's what, the primary was. If you think about, even if you have children now, you have to remind them to eat, especially when the weather's nice. If they can be outside all day. Come in, you gotta eat, because they're happy. They have none of the stressors we all have. They're not paying bills, they're not worried about all of that stuff. So they just get to have fun and be kids, and they forget to eat. And we have to remind them. And then, of course, as we get adults, we live our life around food. Like, is it lunch yet? I gotta eat. What are we having for dinner? Because that's a distraction sometimes for the things that are stressing us out. So if you think about kids being in that playful, childlike state, they're just fed off of life, right? Where we would all like to be, right? And so, like, what we're gonna do later with you guys kind of gets you back into that state of, hey, what's maybe missing that I used to have that I can start putting back in so I don't eat my feelings.
Yeah,
so,
I love that.
Eating your feelings, which we are all guilty of.
Yes.
Okay, so you have an exercise. It's helpful in determining what parts of your life you should work on before turning to food, as we've been explaining. The cycle of life.
Yeah, this is a circle of life.
Let's
so
go.
when I went back, like, for Holistic Nutrition School, we would use this, and I still use it with clients. So what I'll have you do, and you guys did it, these are 12 areas that we have here, if you can see, that drive us. That's the primary foods. And then based on how you feel about those primary foods, drives us to the secondary.
And I'll read some of these out loud so people can see. It's joy, spirituality, creativity, finances, career, education, health, physical activity, home cooking, home environment, relationships, social life. So those are the 12 areas that you want to note where you fall on the happiness
Right, and you might not
scale.
even realize that there's that area that's been deficient. So I tell people, especially we're in Nashville, like, say you came here to be a songwriter and then life happened and you weren't writing anymore. And that's a huge creative outlet, right? Well, if you can get yourself back into doing that while you're trying to change your eating habits, then it makes everything work a whole lot easier, because you're being fed by that great song or playing with your friends. And so there's a lot of things that as we get older, we just stop doing because life takes over. And some of those things are actually what will be, or we're dismissing some things like our finance, or we're dismissing the home cooking because we get too busy.
Right.
Yeah, we have about a minute. I want to show our charts that we did.
We were very vulnerable here, can I just say?
Not only do you put dots along the line, the closer to the center is where you're unhappy, and then the closer to the edge you're happy, and then you make you connect the line.
And I told them they could not do in the middle of they had to actually choose, because you could be like, oh, I'm undecided. But the beauty of this is that you have a visual. You can pick your bottom 3 and say, hey, these are some of the things I'm going to focus on this week. And then I'll have clients redo the dots each week, and we see where we improve. And while we're doing the food things and the eating changes, we do these things. So, hey, social life. Hey, I have to call a girlfriend to go out and have dinner with her. Well, there's social life taken care of for that week. Hey, I'm going to go walk because
I feel like I did it wrong, because I feel like my social life is going so well that I forget about eating really well.
Well, yeah, and so
because I'm out all the time.
But are you drinking
And
when you're
social,
out?
No.
Okay, see, so but I think that's happiness. If you were home alone and you felt like you didn't have anybody to go out with, you might be home alone and
so
eating.
Eating your feelings.
So that's one of your positive areas that you'd say didn't really need any work. If you're already thinking your career and like your education is awesome, Those
Very
are
good.
ones you don't
I
think about.
love it. This is
Yeah.
fascinating. You got to come back
really
and do a
is.
whole another
It
segment
really
on
is.
this.
We
can.
love
You can go
these
so
series.
deep in it. Yeah.
Yes, please be sure to follow her on Instagram and find more tips at sarahmoorehealth.com. Love you, Sarah.
We do.